At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Mike Krueger. You're watching Coffee with Krueger every weekday morning, and the radar is showing, a little bit of shower activity we've seen late last night and early this morning, mainly in Del Norte County. You see a little stray shower there just off the coast of Humboldt County that's approaching. That'll probably die down by the time it does make its way. But look at that. We're also seeing some lightning strikes associated with that. So it's certainly something to think about. If you do need to be on that small boat, there's a possibility you may run into a little bit of that shower activity. Dense fog advisory has been issued really since yesterday for Glenn and Butte County southward into the Sacramento region until about midday today. But we got to get that fog to develop first, and that's really been the big question mark as to whether or not it actually happens. And you can see out towards the Oroville area, the visibility has dropped down to about 2 miles, but nothing too terrible at this point. Just take note that if you are traveling down to Sacramento this morning, that you may run into some of that patchy fog. All right, let's go and take a look at some of the cameras out there and see what it looks like. And there you can see some of the overcast skies and the reduced visibility out at Lake Oroville, North Forebay, but you can still see that there's still some pretty decent visibility there. Main Street Chico on Highway 32 looks like we have some pretty good visibility there as well. Taking you out to Red Bluff, pretty good visibility. We aren't seeing much in the way of that fog developing, and that's also the case out in Redding. This is looking at Highway 44 at Sundial Bridge Drive, and this is kind of another gauge of what the fog is looking like, because this is basically just in the southern part of our viewing area, just to the south of it actually, and you can see where we do start to see that fog begin to kind of creep up from the south. We're not seeing a ton of it at this point out at Sutter Buttes. All right, let's get into your Krueger's Quickcast here for your Thursday, January 29th. And you can see that there are going to be looking at some fairly mild temperatures for the valley. Look at this, only 47 degrees out at the Redding Airport, a little bit cooler in Chico at 41. Mainly 20s and even some 30s for some of the higher elevations, but for the coast, 45 to even 50. Crescent City sitting at 50 degrees this morning. So out the door this morning, there will be some clouds and even some patchy fog, even in Trinity County, but otherwise it will be a mainly dry start to your day. Now, a lot of cloud cover, as you can see here, that's off towards our west, but keep in mind, we've got high pressure in place. That ridge is going to break apart that storm, but I think a lot of that cloud cover is going to be pushing through today, keeping us that veil of thin clouds, high and mid-level clouds, kind of that sun filter through those clouds. So there's that fog this morning that dissipates most likely by around midday, if that should develop, which we're seeing around Oroville. We may see another round of that fog tomorrow morning, maybe even creeping into the Tehama County region, and then maybe some more coming in for your Saturday morning. So it's that continue that, as long as we have that temperature inversion in place and the winds are calm, we've at least got the potential for that fog to develop. Whether or not we've got enough moisture in the atmosphere is kind of the big question. So let's take a look at Futurecast, and I was talking about some of those high and mid-level clouds kind of pushing through around midday and through the afternoon, and that's going to basically give us that category of partly to mostly cloudy skies. Once again, you see those thin and mid-level clouds and the sun filter through that. That's what I'm expecting here for today. That not much in the way of rain. You can see a couple of those systems just clipping Northern California. So Northern Humboldt, Del Norte, Western Siskiyou, all those places seeing that potential for a stray sprinkle or light shower in the next 24 hours, but nothing to write home about. Mount Shasta Ski Park officially did see 2 inches of snow with that last storm that we did see move through. Unfortunately, not as much as anticipated. Now we're down to about 25 inches at the top of Douglas. It's groomed and rider packed. No chain requirement, something to be concerned about on those road conditions. So there are your chances for rain for the next 7 days. It's Sunday, And even then, that doesn't look all that promising, at least for the valley. Now, better chances for the coast, which we'll get into that in the deeper dive here in just a bit. Temperatures low to mid 60s in the valley, 50s for most of the higher elevations, and mid to upper 50s for the coast. Tonight, dropping down to about 40, give or take for the valley, mainly 30s for the higher elevations and low to mid 40s for the coast. Looking at your 7-day forecast, I've taken out the wording of chance for rain on Sunday, but Redding, slight chance for a sprinkle or light shower, brief light shower Sunday morning. Otherwise, I think we're going to be mainly dry on Sunday and then dry and warmer through next week. Now, where we have the better chance for measurable rainfall will be on the coast, inland and for Trinity County. Even western Siskiyou County, I've put that chance in there, especially for, say, Scott Valley on Sunday morning, Happy Camp, for example. But central eastern Siskiyou County, your chances are slimmer. And I've even taken out the wording of chance for Sunday for Modoc County and the eastern mountains, and then completely dry and warming up as we go through next week. That's a look at your Krueger's Quickcast. Now let's take a look at some of the cameras around the region, just to kind of see what's going on out there. And we did see some of these cameras a little bit earlier, but we are seeing some patchy fog developing in Glenn and Butte counties this morning. There you can see some of the clouds off in the distance, making for most likely what will be a beautiful sunrise out there. This is I-5 in the Red Bluff area. You can see the visibility looks pretty good there. We're seeing some decent visibility in the Redding area on Highway 44 at Sundial Bridge Drive, the camera there. Again, looking at Sutter Buttes, we're seeing some patchy fog developing there. Looks like on the west side of the valley there, or excuse me, on the east side. Crescent City, looks like we do have a little bit of drizzle out there this morning. Otherwise, the overcast skies this morning. This is looking at Bald Hill West, and you can kind of see some of that fog out in the Hoopa Valley area, taking you out to Soda Ridge. And looks like we do have some clouds out there, but some breaks in the clouds. That should also most likely make for a beautiful sunrise. Fort Jones, and looking out at Scott Valley, looks like we do have some of that patchy fog out there. And it's not very dense. You can see above that there are a few clouds. We take a look at what it looks like right now in Elk Country, just north of Trinidad. Looks like it's still pretty dark out there, but we don't have much in the way of fog out there this morning. And this is a look out at, well, let's take you back over here, Lassen Park. Still have some snow out there this morning. Let me just kind of double check one of my settings here. We're going to check it here. There we go. Looks good. All right. On and off. Looks good. Let's view it again. See if everything's good. It is. All right. Just double checking a little setting ahead here. But yeah, there you can see some of the snow that we do have out in Lassen Park, turning out to be a gorgeous look there. By the way, we got a sunrise this morning. That's probably going to be quite gorgeous. I want you to take some photos of that and then share them from the free Weather NorCal app, and maybe you'll see it tomorrow morning during the morning update and live here on Coffee with Krueger. Today is Thursday. We've got our NorCal Ag Report sponsored by Lassen County Nursery, and we take you to Lassen County Nursery where the whole strawberry plant process begins. Very interesting. One of my favorites. Check it out. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal. This is another edition of NorCal Ag, and we are out at Lassen County Nursery, of course, the sponsor of NorCal Ag. And behind me, and of course, first, before we get into that, I've got to introduce our guest. And this is Hannah Zeng, and you are the lab, you don't really have an official title, but you
lab
would,
technician.
Lab technician. And behind us, we've got strawberries, right? So these are strawberries, but there is a whole process before any of these strawberries get planted in here and even go out to Manteca for their final process. But there's a whole process. They've got a lab here. So Hannah here is going to show us this lab and kind of take us through the process of how a strawberry is, in a sense, a strawberry plant is in a sense born. So let's get right to it.
This is where the plants get started. We just take a regular strawberry plant, put it in potting soil, and allow them to proliferate. They naturally reproduce asexually by putting out these little plantlets. And they're not looking the best right now. This is how they look at the very end of the season when it's cold and they've gone dormant, so a lot of dead leaves. But once we let them grow out, we move them into our heat chamber for a heat treatment process that gets rid of viruses. Our heat chamber is kept at 97 degrees
Okay.
And the plants
like a
stay
typical
in here.
summer in Reading. So
Yeah.
when it's summer in Reading, you probably don't have to heat this up a whole lot, right?
Yes, in the summer we actually have a cooling system in place.
Cooling to start, yes. So then it's in here for 6 weeks.
Yes.
Kind of the same concept here. You've got the whatever these are called again. What are they called?
Yep, these are called runners.
Runners.
And we just let them, hang out in here for 6 weeks. And that is typically enough to kill off any viruses that may be present in the plant. Once those 6 weeks in the heat chamber are up, we take those plants and I start cutting them under a microscope. And the reason for that is because we are extracting a very, very small, about 1 millimeter in length piece of tissue, which is the central growing point of each plant. I extract that and place it into tissue culture media into these little test tubes. The plants typically stay in these tubes for about 90 days. That's how long it takes for them to grow from that 1 millimeter piece of tissue into about 2 or 3 inch sized little plant. So once those 90 days in the test tube are up, we take them out of the test tube and plant them inside these little pots in regular potting soil. Place a little hood over it to help keep the moisture in. They're very sensitive and delicate at this stage. And then a few weeks later, we take those hoods off and they start to look a little more like this.
So now we're out in the screen room, as you call it. And this is the semi-final process, at least for you, right?
Yes.
So they end up here, and what happens next?
Yep, each one of those little black pots goes in one of these bins and we allow them to naturally proliferate.
So this right here, this whole bin is from one plant?
Yes. Yeah, so this is all part of our multiplication process.
Wow, okay.
We put one plant in one bin and we hope to get at least 100 plants out of it.
So 100 plants in there, plus all these other hundreds of plants.
Yes.
So then from there, they go to Manteca, right?
Yes. Yes.
And that's the final process. That's the final step.
Well, not quite.
Okay.
Yeah, from here they go to what we call our low elevation fields in Manteca. And we call them that because of the lower elevation. And we take these 100 plants and we let those proliferate into, let's say the 100 might become 20,000. And then from there we take those 20,000 and move them to our high elevation in McDowell.
Okay, McDowell. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it goes and that's the final process.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We're getting the final process. So then you harvest them there, and then that's where they get distributed to people to plant them and grow the strawberries.
Yes.
Correct. All right. Who knew? I mean, what an amazing process to see from the conception, really, to coming out here and then hearing about Manteca and McDowell. I mean, quite a process they have here at Lassen County Nursery. So thank you so much for giving us this little tour and education about strawberry plants. Really appreciate it. And we will see you for another edition of NorCal Ag. That really is one of my favorite reports. That's one I did kind of in the early days of the Ag Report here. And I really learned a lot about what they do at Lassen County Nursery, kind of the whole process. I had no idea that they start everything in a lab and then they kind of work their way up, getting to the farms and then eventually into other people's farms, to the strawberries that you eat. So very cool, very lovely. I love it. I want to thank Lassen County Nursery, Kenny Elwood, for example, as the sponsor of NorCal Ag Report since its inception. So we're very excited about that, to keep that relationship going. We've got some great, exciting things that are happening. And we'll, of course, be seeing those things probably unravel a little bit here in the next couple of months. So be on the lookout for that. We're very excited. Speaking of our sponsors, we do have our sponsor of Coffee with Krueger, and that would be Wind River Resort and Casino. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, so here's a look at your weather headlines before we get into that deeper dive. Patchy morning fog, mainly dry and warmer, slight chance for showers Sunday. We're going to talk about that in a little more detail, but dry through the middle of next month, and it's a very good possibility. Let's get into all of that in our deeper dive forecast, but first, a word from our sponsor, Shasta Hearing Aids.
Hearing isn't just about sound, it's about being part of every moment. This isn't your grandparents' hearing aid, it's a smart hearing aid for modern life. It's Bluetooth enabled, easy to control from your phone with your personal prescription, delivering the clarity you need. All that technology at half the cost of competitors, so you never miss a moment worth hearing. With our Here For You program, you get personal care and support every step of the way. This is what quality care sounds like.
All right, here we go. Looking at the radar here, we are looking at a little bit of shower activity late last night and early this morning that just clipped into parts of Del Norte, western Siskiyou. Even northern Humboldt County looks like saw a little bit of activity and even worked its way into parts of Modoc County. So certainly something you may have noticed if you're in those areas. Otherwise, you can see another weak system. This will most likely break apart and fizzle out before it hits the coast. But notice too, couple of lightning strikes that we've seen pop up over the ocean here. That is certainly a possibility this morning. Temperatures right now are in the low to mid 40s, even some upper 40s out in Redding at the airport there. 28 though for El Tourist, 26 in Susanville, 45 to 50. 50 degrees in Crescent City out there this morning, 45 Eureka, and Hoopa about 43 degrees. The visibility has dropped a little bit here, but since I reported even just at the top of the show here, it was at 2-mile visibility in Oroville. Now it's back up to 4-mile visibility. So there is a dense fog advisory that the National Weather Service has issued until noon today, but we got to get that fog to develop first. And the thing is, if it doesn't develop, then that will most likely be allowed to expire before midday. But it looks like we could see the potential, that is, for some more fog out towards Glen and Butte, even making its way up towards the Red Bluff area, possibly for tomorrow morning. Wouldn't be surprised if there is another dense fog advisory issued later today for Glen and Butte counties. But again, we've just got to see that develop first. And then by Friday afternoon, should that fog develop, it'll probably burn off by then. Friday night into Saturday morning, maybe another round of some of that fog. So here's the big picture that we're looking at right now. A bit of a dry slot between the system that moved through us a couple of days ago, and then, of course, now the one that's off to our west. Now, this one looks impressive. It looks like, hey, this thing's going to barrel toward us, and we're going to see a ton of rainfall. No, not going to happen. That's because we've got high pressure in place. However, you've got this storm system off back here. That's what's going to be moving in here by the second half of the weekend. So let's take a look at our long range, just to kind of give you a general idea. So the ridge of high pressure that's over it, see how it's shifting eastward, right? So now the ridge is here. The ridge is, this right here is right on top of us now. That's why we're dry. But as that shifts eastward, Sunday morning, we can see that open the door slightly. And that's why I expect the North Coast, western Siskiyou, Trinity County, all seeing the potential for showers, most of it though along the coast. Everyone else though, it may fizzle out before working its way into the valley and into the eastern mountains. Look at this. You see that? Big ridge of high pressure that will be in place through all of next week. That's going to block any storms from moving in, and it's going to give us warmer temperatures for next week as well. So let's time it out here with that potential for showers on Sunday. So as you can see here through the day today, we are seeing just that thin veil of clouds. So I think we're going to be looking at the sun filtered through some high and even some mid-level clouds here throughout the day today. That's why we'll call it partly to mostly cloudy skies. You can see those clouds kind of filtering in tonight and into tomorrow morning as well. So Friday, still looking at the potential for some more of those clouds, but you'll notice really not any rain pushing on through. I think the ridge may amplify a little bit before it does shift eastward on Saturday. So that's why I expect to most likely see a little bit more sunshine to start off your weekend. But there is that cold front and that storm system approaching. Now you can see by the time we get into around midnight, Saturday night into Sunday, we may see some showers hitting the coast. That pushes through the coast through the morning hours on Sunday, really early morning hours, late night, early morning. There you can see. Now look what happens. It just breaks apart, doesn't it? Now, there may be a shower in parts of the mountains of Shasta County, the northern parts of Lassen, Modoc County, Siskiyou County, even Trinity County seeing some of that. And could we see a stray sprinkle or even a brief light shower for the north end of the valley, say around Redding? Not out of the question. I don't think it would be much in the way of measurable rainfall, but only time will tell, right? But there you can see by the time we get into Sunday afternoon, that's all pretty much done with, and we're going into a dry spell through next week. So how much rain can we expect through Sunday? Most of it will be in Del Norte County. I'd say upwards of a 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch. Less than that anywhere else. And you can see the model is picking up on maybe a little bit of light accumulation around Redding, maybe Shingletown, Lakehead. But keep in mind, by the time it works its way eastward, it will really die out and those chances for rain diminish. This is a bit of a different forecast model, and it keeps all of the activity west of the valley into Trinity, western Siskiyou, Del Norte, and Humboldt, and of course most of that rain working its way into mainly Del Norte County. So here's the long range. This is the Climate Prediction Center's prediction and projection through February 12th, or basically between February 6th and February 12th. Look what we've got here. Drier than normal conditions in the long range. Now, what you'll notice here, we're not in these darker shades of brown. This is a slight sign of what I'm seeing. And what I'm seeing is, looking way down the line here, just before we get to the middle of February, we start to see some signs in the long-range forecast models that we may transition back into a wetter pattern. Fingers crossed, that's not even close to being guaranteed at this point, because the bottom line is we've got to break up this route of high pressure to allow that storm door to open. Until that happens, we're going to remain fairly dry. And also, with that route of high pressure in place, it keeps our temperatures above normal. This week we'll notice it, but with the added cloud cover, that'll keep those temperatures down a bit. As that disturbance pushes through Sunday, that drops our temperatures down a little bit more on Sunday, but then back up to around 70, especially for the north end of the valley, through a good portion of next week. Now, the lake levels looking very healthy. Rainfall amounts, as we saw yesterday, looking very healthy. Snowpack that is, not looking all that great. We could use more snow, we could use more rain. Wave heights, as you can see, they're not changing a whole lot. They kind of back off a bit Friday, but then by Friday afternoon, maybe kind of picking back up a little bit here. But bottom line, you can see here, those winds are from the south at 5 to 10 knots. Your waves from the west at 11 feet at about 15 seconds. All right, so here is your neighborhood forecast, sponsored in part by Dignity Health. We have got those temperatures in the mid to upper 50s for your daytime highs in Trinity County. So what I'm going to talk about here, we're going to continue to be dry across the board today, for the most part, through Saturday. By Sunday morning, Trinity County, you may see some showers. By Sunday morning, the North Coast, inland, and the coast, you're going to see some showers here. And most of it will be in Del Norte County Sunday morning, late Saturday night, Sunday morning, and then drying out by Sunday afternoon. Siskiyou County, Fort Jones, Etna, Happy Camp. I think you'll all see some light shower activity for early Sunday morning, dry Sunday afternoon. Chances for rain at all will be much slimmer as you head off to the east on Sunday. Situation for Modoc County, mainly dry even on Sunday. In fact, you'll notice on Sunday, I've even taken out the word chance because it's just such a slim chance. It really won't be enough, if you see anything, to, hinder any of your outdoor plans. And that's the same thing here for the eastern mountains. You're going to be looking at those dry conditions. And for the valley, I've also taken out that wording, especially to the south. But for today, you're talking low 60s. Your 7-day forecast for Chico, we've got those temperatures in the low 60s through Monday, low to mid 60s by Tuesday and Wednesday. All right, we take you up to the north, 65 for Redding, the city of Shasta Lake and Bella Vista, 63 out at Red Bluff, 65 in Palisadro. There's your 7-day forecast for Redding. And those temperatures are going to get back up to around 70 by Tuesday and Wednesday. So we are going to be looking at more spring-like weather once again as we go into the month of February. So very interesting to kind of see what's going on out there as far as those drier conditions. Here's the thing. I know I'm noticing this as we go on social media, and I've even had people make a comment on some of my posts in weeks past, really the last several weeks. And I've been seeing this trend of dry weather here through the end of this month and even going into February. But there were a lot of naysayers saying, "Oh no, it's all going to switch over. It's going to be wet by the end of the month in early February." That's the way it always happens. We see it. Sometimes we've seen this before, where it's dry for January, but then we see February and things kind of change over. And I just didn't see it happening. And here we are. The long-range forecast models just keep pushing back any chances for rain more and more. And now, as I mentioned, I'm seeing the potential, and although really most of the long-range forecast models are indicating that just before we get to the middle of the month, say around the 12th, 13th, 14th of February, maybe a transition over to a more wet pattern. That's not even close to becoming guaranteed, but it's something worth watching. And it is that hope, right, that we could see some snow in the mountains and, of course, rain. But, we've still got to get through the next couple of weeks. And hopefully we can get some decent rain for the coast for Sunday. But not anyone else is really seeing much in the way of rain. Check in with some of you this morning. We've got Barry saying, "Good morning and have a great day." Good morning to you as well. We got Brian saying, "Morning, Mike. We need snow." Oh man, are you ever right on that one? We got a little bit of snow out at Mount Shasta Ski Park, but it didn't do much, did it, right? So yeah, we can only hope for the best for them. Good morning, Mike. I'll try to send a photo again. I appreciate that, Curtis. We'd certainly love to see some of your photos. And hey, take a look at this too, saying very interesting on the strawberries. I agree. I just think, I had no idea that was the process, but Lassen County Nursery has got it dialed in. I tell you what, they do a great job over there. Debbie Castro saying good morning. I couldn't find you at first. Thanks for doing a great job. Well, thank you, Debbie. Maybe you couldn't find me this morning, or you couldn't find me at first when I first started. I don't know. But always remember this. If you're looking for me on Facebook or anywhere else, note that I am all over the place. I have a live 24-hour streaming channel that's always streaming. And then what happens is, if you're on your Roku, for example, and you're watching the regular, live stream, and then suddenly I come up doing the live Coffee with Krueger show. And if anything should happen, if anything's happening weather-wise, you can always check there to see if anything's going on, because I will break in live if it is necessary. I've done that before with our recent flooding several weeks ago. I cut in, it was a Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, and I was breaking in talking about the flooding. So yeah, always check that. If you can't find me on Facebook, go to YouTube. You can find the live stream there as well. You can also go to YouTube and watch my latest video forecast that I usually upload between 5 and 6 a.m. in the morning, weekday mornings. I do the neighborhood forecast. You can watch me on weathernorcal.com. The 24-hour streaming channel is there. And don't forget about the app, right? We got the app. Don't forget about the app. Here's the cool thing about the app. Let's load it up. Watch what happens. Look at the top. There I am. Live show right there on your app. And all you got to do is this. On the bottom right, there is, bottom upper right. See those arrows? You make it big, do this. Now you're watching on your phone, and it's a pretty good size. So you can always watch from the app as well. Let's get out of here. There we go. So yeah, just wanted to kind of give you a heads up on that. So there you go, Debbie. And we've got, a couple more people have checked in here this morning. We have got Mark saying, good morning, great weather for the outdoor activities. The trees are blooming in Shasta State Park. Worth taking a drive to Old Shasta. Stop by Jay's Market and pick up something and enjoy the park. There you go. A little plug for Jay's. We've got Debbie saying, thank you. Well, maybe I helped you discover something. You know what, Kenny? So I just saw this morning. I need to talk to some of your people to make sure someone keeps me informed about what's going on in the ag community, such as the bull and gelding sale. So, Kenny, I will try to get out there today. I will probably text you to see if we can maybe do an interview, or maybe I'll talk to JB, see if he can do a quick live interview about what's the goings on for today and the weekend. But yes, we've got the bull and gelding sale, which started, I believe it was Tuesday. I can't believe I didn't know about it until this morning. So that could have been my ag report for this morning too. But, hindsight, right? Hindsight is 2020. But yes, great day, Kenny, for Red Bluff Bull and Gelding Sale. Hopefully I'll see you out there. I'll be sure to try to get out there. I've got a lunch meeting. Maybe I'll get out there this afternoon. BJ, LOL. Did I say BJ? Did I say BJ, or what did I say? Did I say DJ or say, I don't know. It's BJ, yes. No, it's BJ, right? That's his name, isn't it? I always get them all mixed up. But yes, I think he'll be there. I think I interviewed him in the past. BJ, it's JB. Oh my gosh. It's JB. Sorry, JB, if you're watching, that's your name. Oh my goodness. I am so bad with names. I'm surprising I even remember your name, Kenny. That's the bottom line here. But yes, I will try to get out there and maybe even do a live interview with JB, not BJ. I think it was the thing in like BJ and the Bears, right? Was it? What movie was that with? I forget his name already. See, again, I'm terrible. But yes, great day for the bull and gelding sale. So there you go. That is going to do it for us this morning. Let's leave you with a couple of cameras. And we're going to start off with Soda Ridge, see what's going on. Hey, I hope you all have yourselves a great Thursday. And we will see. Kenny says, you need coffees. Yes, I do. I need more coffee. This is my second cup. Maybe I need 3 cups by the time I do the show. There you go. Hope you have yourselves a great day, and we will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early, maybe on my third cup of coffee on Coffee with Krueger. Have yourselves a great rest of your day.